another episode of Sam's Playbook, a podcast. I am your host, your favorite shit-talking sports junkie, Sam Downs. Welcome to the shit show. Now, week 7, it was so entertaining. I'm not even going to front. I think I got like 5 games predicted wrong, but really, I'm not even mad at it. I lost all of my parlays, essentially. And that's because I will have the urge to have such like a confidence in a certain team. You know what I mean? And I say this to myself literally every week. Like, I'm not going to put this all across my parlays because that's like the number one thing you should not do. You should not put the same thing across your parlay. And I do it every week. I literally do it to myself. At this point, I'm just giving away. I'm just lighting money on fire. And that's okay. You know, because technically we still up, baby. We still up. But, you know, we're going to recoup back that in week 8 because I really tried to not be so wishy-washy in my picks, right? I tried not to overthink it this week because the ones that I did overthink it or that I was the ones that either I was wishy-washy on, I picked right, or the ones that I was like, not so sure on, but my first initial instinct was correct. And I just like overthought things. And I'm just going to be very basic, go down to my picks. We're also we have some voicemails, okay? I gave fans across platforms of the NFL a line, a hotline bling, we're calling it, okay? Where you can call in and you can say your grievances. You can talk your shit. You can cry. The lines are open, okay? And I will give that number out later in the segment. But first, we'll dive right into, we're going to talk about Monday Night Football because arguably was the most entertaining day on a Sunday, in my opinion. There was one really actually 2 really entertaining games, but let's just dive right into Monday night games. So first was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Lions. And thank God I got Monday correct. Monday was great, okay? But Mike Evans, imagine coming back from injury, right? Being the star receiver of your team. Not arguably, I don't even think this is an argument. The best receiver that the Buccaneers has ever seen, ever. He comes back from injury, from a hamstring injury, or was it ankle? I don't know, but neither here nor there. Comes back for an injury, just to get injured. I think it was in the second quarter. Have his collarbone and a very bad concussion. Broken. I feel so bad for that man. And I think he's on his 14th season, if I'm not mistaken. I may be making those numbers up, or it's either 10 to 14. I know that that's like a wild time jump, but I'm really dyslexic, so it could be one of those 3. But I hope it doesn't send him into early retirement. I don't think it will, because, you know, a collarbone, if you think about it, I mean, it is, I guess, a serious injury, but it's not like a career-ending injury. You know what I mean? He could be back. I don't think it's a season-ending injury, but we'll have to see. But that was the saddest part of the entire Monday Night Football. And obviously that really did affect Baker Mayfield's performance. I do think so. But the Lions defense was unstoppable, creating turnover after turnover. And even the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense did work too. It was so entertaining. I loved every second of it. So all right. And it's just like, especially from Baker Mayfield, it's something that we weren't really expecting, like to see this many turnovers. But again, that Lions defense is on a whole other level of crazy. Okay. And especially coming off of that Chiefs loss, I knew that it was going to be vengeance. Okay. And I just felt bad that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just happened to be the bystander of that. So on the opening drive, Amon St. Brown literally scores on the opening drive, and it was beautiful. And then again, turnover after turnover for Baker Mayfield. The Lions defense really needs to be studied, and the Bills must take notes here. For real. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense also created lots of turnovers and got a fumble recovery with 7 minutes left in the first quarter. But the Bucs couldn't convert on third downs. That was their main issue. And in fact, they didn't even get it until midfield field goal range until like the second half of the game. It was insane. The Lions were doing that good at stopping them in that field range. It was just insane. And it kept going back and forth, turnovers. Like, it wasn't, at no point in the first half I was like, yeah, the Lions have this in the bag. It was just like it was like a ping pong ball, back and forth, back and forth. Jahmyr Gibbs played his best game of the season and arguably will be remembered as a career game for Jahmyr Gibbs because stellar performance from him. He raced an 87-yard touchdown, leading the Lions 13-0 in the second quarter. And this is where, unfortunately, Mike Evans does get injured. And I just feel so bad for him and his family. Like, oh my God. And Baker, because like they've created such like a good relationship. And my heart breaks. My heart breaks for them both. Another fumble recovery, this time from the Lions defense. But the Lions didn't get any points the next drive because the kicker missed the field goal. What the hell? Baker was up again in another fumble recovery from the Lions. Not so fast because the Bucs defense intercepts the ball from Goff the next drive. I say it weird. Don't come for me. All right. Whatever. And this game really could have been such a blowout for both teams, but the defenses were that good and just would not let the offenses convert. I'm just surprised the Lions put up as many points as they did. Just watching how well their defenses were playing, right? Just 10 seconds left of the second quarter, and finally the Bucs make it to mid field goal range. And they, of course, the Lions defense wouldn't let them get it past third or fourth down, and they had to kick a field goal. It was 14-3 Lions halftime, okay? The opening drive in the second half for the Bucs, cinematic. Tez Johnson played an amazing game. Tez Johnson was the star of the drive and finally gave the Bucs the first touchdown of the night, trailing closely behind the Lions 9-14. The Bucs go for a 2-point conversion, and Baker Mayfield was sacked like a 5-pound bag of Yukon Gold potatoes, okay? It was crazy. They should have just went for the extra point, but it wouldn't have mattered at the end of the game, but neither here nor there. But of course, did not matter, because the absolute rest of the game was a barbecue. It was a barbecue. Jahmyr Gibbs fucking pirouettes in the next drive right into the end zone, scores for a touchdown. Spoiler alert, the Bucs didn't put up any other points after that, but did a great job on the Bucs, the defense, stopping the Lions on third downs, and they forced the Lions into a 50-yard field goal. Didn't put any up. The Lions didn't put up any more points after that. So, but man, really good try for Baker Mayfield and his offense, even after like the horrific injury. I give them so much love and respect for even trying and attempting, but I just knew that there was no way that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers was traveling to Ford Field and beating the Lions. There was just no possible way. And then just as that game was ending, then we had the Seahawks game. It was like 2 a.m, and I turned on the TV for a second, and the Seahawks game is still playing. I'm like, oh my God, it's the West Coast. That's right. And on the West Coast, shit starts brewing there. The Seahawks said, hold my poodle. Hold my fucking poodle, okay? So Seattle had the ball first. The Texans defense creates a turnover on the opening drive. So it was CJ Stroud. It was his chance to shine. Did he? No. He didn't. He was sacked on third down in an 18-yard loss into the end zone. Oh my God. And the next drive, the Seahawks make it all the way to the red zone and do some type of botched tush push that involved the Texans. Like, the Texans defenders were part of this tush push. Like, they pushed it through with them. It was like the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. But nonetheless, they got a touchdown, okay? Weirdest play I've ever seen, but hey, it put up the first touchdown of the night. Seattle makes it into field goal range, and the Texans are blocked the field goal with an amazing play by defense. CJ Stroud makes it into field goal range and somehow manages to put up 3 more points at the end of the first half. But wait, there's more. There is more. The Texans' opening drive of the third quarter, CJ Stroud throws an interception. But of course, the only thing keeping the Texans alive was, in fact, their defense this entire game. And they managed to stop the Seahawks on third down and third downs, forcing them to kick field goals, making it 17-6. Stroud hands the ball right over to the Seahawks. But then the Texans gave the Seahawks terrible field position to the point where the Houston's defense sacked Sam, and the ball was red hot, picked it up by a Houston defender, and scored literally the only touchdown of the night for the Houston Texans. So really, their defense should be playing in their offense. It was just wild. CJ Stroud couldn't even get the 2-point conversion there. Again, should have went for the extra point, but neither here nor there at the end of the day. So they were trailing behind the Seahawks, not for long though, 12-17. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Next drive, field goal for Seattle. Then Houston was stopped again. Shocking revelation, I know. Giving themselves negative yards on that drive. So I feel terrible whoever has CJ Stroud on their fantasy. Oh my God. I would just quit now. I would just bench him and I feel like you would still win. You have chances of winning if you just bench him. And to be honest, I really just can't clown on Houston's offense here because the play calling was terrible. They played the exact same play twice in a row and was stopped by the same defenders twice in a row. Like, it was wild, okay? Absolute shit. Seattle's next drive was walked into the end zone, leaving the Texans in the dust 27-12. And in the fourth quarter, we get a little tussle action. We get a little tussle. Sam Darnold threw an interception caught by Eric Stingley Jr. of the Houston Texans. And while he was running, he stiff-armed an offensive player from Seattle, Jackson Smith. I'm not even going to attempt his hyphenated name. I'm sorry about that. He stiff-armed to a point where he stiff-armed his helmet off, and he gets mad, of course, shoves Stingley. And then some other Texan defenders get involved and literally they pushed him down to the point where they benched the Seattle offensive player. They benched him down in Houston's own sideline, right? They benched him down and then a bunch of people just start getting involved from Houston and from Seattle. And it was just a tussle trying to get at this dude. And this gorgeous man of a man comes and literally stands over there and hovers over him and protects him so nobody could get to him. And the man didn't need protecting, but there were so many people coming at him that I feel like any respectable man or official would have done that. And come to find out, he's an ex-NFL star. I didn't know this. And I think that's so cool when, ex-NFL stars, they become officials and coaches. And I just love when they're involved somehow in the game because they love the sport so much. But Nathan Jones, he played for the Broncos and I think he played for the Patriots too as well. But he used himself literally as a human shield to protect Smith during the scuffle, and it was beautiful. The Texans get a 15-yard penalty after that, and the only thing exciting to conclude that game was a field goal made by the Texans, making this game 27-19 Seattle. So that was the Monday night drama in the T. But arguably the best game in this was the best game in week 7 was definitely the Broncos versus the Giants. This will go down in history of one of the greatest comeback in regular season history. Okay. Holy shit. And this is why I was so wishy-washy on this game. I was like, I think the Giants are going to win this, but I'm going to run both. And this is why. The Giants it looked like they were going to completely dominate them. And let me just circle back to this for a second. The Broncos happened to this was an honor game for Demaryius Thomas, and his entire family was here, and I'm so happy they were able to witness this, because what a beautiful way to honor their son and their family member, to have this type of game, this type of blowout, comeback kid type of story. I loved it. I loved every second of it, even though I was wrong with my pick, right? Oh, so beautiful. The Giants looked like they were about to win. They had it in the bag. Again, 5 minutes left of the fourth quarter, 26-8. And Bo Nix makes it downfield and then to first and goal. Next drive, fakes the ball and runs it right in. Bo Nix runs it right in, scores the touchdown, okay? Goes for the 2-point conversion, trailing right behind the Giants, 26-16. The Giants get the ball back and was picked off by the Broncos. Bo Nix again makes it down to the red zone and another touchdown for the Broncos, making it 26-23 Giants. Jackson Dart could not convert on third or fourth downs on the next drive, so they gave the ball back to the Broncos. 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. Broncos convert for a few more third downs all the way to the red zone, where Bo Nix again runs it in for another touchdown for their first lead of the night, making it 30-26 Broncos. Dart gets the ball back with 1 minute and 50 seconds left of the fourth quarter, gets sacked on first down, missed his target for a shotgun pass downfield on second down. And then on third down, Dart's shotgun pass gets blocked again by the Broncos, leaving them with one more try. But it was literally inches short of the first down. So we thought. The replay comes back. The Broncos showed a personal foul against Dart that saved them for an automatic first down. The Giants make it all the way into the red zone for an almost touchdown, but was blocked by Denver. However, it was called as a pass interference against the defense, and another flag was thrown for head coach Payton for literally walking all the way onto the field to yell and argue with officials. So that was a call for unsportsmanlike conduct against the coach and against, for the pass interference, making it an automatic first down for the Giants. So the Giants, first and goal in the red zone. Dart dives for the touchdown, but his knees were down on contact before the ball made it through the end zone, resulting the Giants to kick a field goal with 30-something seconds left. But the kicker misses the field goal, keeping the score 32-30 Giants. And with 30 seconds left, Bo Nix, plenty of time, came in clutch. He fucking does. Throws a Hail Mary, caught at the 48. Then in the next drive, Cortland Sutton catches the ball at the 39 with 2 seconds left on the clock. Here comes the kicker, the star of the night, and kicks the ball right through the goalpost, winning the game 33-32 Broncos. And aside for the fourth quarter comeback, only made for storybooks. The most beautiful parallels to Demaryius Thomas and them, celebrating him and dedicating this game to him is that Demaryius Thomas, he happened to pass away at the age of 33, and the Broncos won 33 points. What a blessing. And their family was there to witness it. Like, oh my God, so emotional. Oh God. So, as far as picks go, here are the games I technically got wrong, okay? Technically. Bengals versus Steelers. That game was so close, I don't even want to call it wrong, but Bengals, we'll circle back to that one because we got to talk about that one. It was also one of the craziest games of week 7 for sure. It was like uncle versus uncle, and it was like your uncle that has his shit together and his other uncle that's like, addicted to painkillers and opiates, but is like sort of okay, but like sort of questionable, sort of sketchy. We love them both dearly, but we love the more sketchy one a little bit more. So Dolphins versus Browns, 31-6 Dolphins. We'll also circle back to that one because I have some fucking words for that one. Okay. Bears versus Saints, 26-14. They played it. The Saints, I wasn't. They played okay. They played okay. Giants versus Broncos. But to be fair, I did call for both. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I did call for both. And the 49ers versus the Falcons, 2010 49ers. And that just goes to show you, like, you really can't predict these games. Like, one week you're like, oh my God, the Falcons just completely ate the Buffalo Bills as lunch and food. But then the 49ers come back from all these injuries and they really don't even have time and to practice and everything. They come back and their team is kind of like in shambles a little bit. It's all discombobulated, coming back from injuries and all that. And they completely like bomb the Falcons. It just makes no sense at all. But it's not supposed to make sense. It's really not. So there you have it. But the Bengals versus the Steelers game, it was so fun to watch. But wow, I gotta say, like, I don't condone people in using substances, but I must say that Percocet Rogers is back, okay? Because them peoples were fucking pinholes, okay? And he was just tunnel vision, Hail Marrying, and really just throwing bullets, dude. Some of them were landing, some of them weren't, but wow. Wow. And Joe Flacco, he played an amazing game. And honestly, I feel so bad for Joe Burrow that had to sit there and witness this because honestly, Jamar Chase played his best game that he's played in I don't even know how long, probably one of his best games without his star quarterback, Joe Burrow. And that must be so embarrassing for Joe. And I really do feel really bad for him. But because Jamar Chase, one of the best receivers in the league, finally, for the first time in forever since Elsa, really gets to show out. 16 receptions for like 170 yards or something like that. Just insane numbers. Insane. Even to the final potential game-winning drive for the Steelers, like literal seconds left. Like I'm talking like 1 second, 2 seconds left of the fourth quarter. Roger tries to Hail Mary it into the red zone for like 70 something yards. Almost completes it. But a Bengals defender like blocks it, but it was there, dude. And the receiver was right there. If that Bengals defender wasn't right there blocking it, that pass would have for sure been caught, and that would have been the end of the game. And the Steelers would have won that. But wow. I'm almost like, even though the Steelers are in the AFC, like I feel so happy for Steelers fans because it's been a long time coming. You guys just came back off Russell Wilson. Like, it's just been such a hard few years for you guys. And I can't help but to feel happy for you guys, for the Steelers fans. And honestly, and for Aaron Rodgers too, because I was Aaron Rodgers' biggest hater and he's growing on me. He is growing on me. And that's because like, I wasn't like hating on him because like, I know he's a legend. I was just hating on the fact like, dude, you're ruining your legacy. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? Just please retire. Just retire already. But I always talk about that. Anyways, moving on. Back to the Dolphins. Listen, Tua, you just need to stop, dude. I'm so sick of hearing Tua's excuses. And fire Mike McDaniel. Fire Tua, fire Mike McDaniel. Just, they need a clean slate. I cannot stand another week of Tua's excuses or Mike McDaniel's excuses. And his I'm sorry, it is just bullshit. When Josh Allen comes up to a press conference after a devastating loss against whomever, right? Two weeks in a row, every time he always takes full responsibility and accountability because guess what? He is the leader of that team and he takes full responsibility because he is the quarterback. You are in control. You have the ball. You are in control of that team. Yes, there are other factors. There's play calling involved. There's coaching involved. There's defense involved. There's offense involved, of course, But at the end of the day, you are the forefront. You are the brand. essentially, in that team. Okay. And Tua just making excuse after excuse after. I'm just so sick of it. It's just like, honestly, I don't care because they're in our division. Like, suck all you want, but it's just getting annoying. Okay. And for the Browns to beat you, dude, you guys need to 86 your entire season.
This episode is brought to you by Superbox. Question: how many subscriptions are you actually paying for right now? Netflix, Hulu, cable, sports package, that random trial you always forget to cancel. Yeah, it all adds up. Now imagine if you could 86 all of that, watch every single game, yes, every single game, even the ones outside of your network, plus every channel and every streaming service all in one place for a fraction of what you're paying for now. That's exactly what Superbox does. No blackout restrictions, no overpriced bundles, and my favorite part, you can cancel all those other subscriptions you've been wasting money on. Just plug it in, connect it to your Wi-Fi, and butter my ass and call me a biscuit. You got every game and channel. And now you can stay up to date in real time with your bets and fantasy leagues, or text your buddies and make fun of them for losing on their fantasy leagues. All you do is pay for the box and that's it. No subscription fees ever. Superbox. More games, more channels, more freedom. Right now, our listeners get an exclusive deal. Click the link in the description of the show and use code GET20SUPER for 20% off your Superbox today. Stop paying more for less. With Superbox, you'll never miss a game again. Click the link in the description to get yours today.
Let's take a listen to the angry voicemails that were left in my inbox. And for those that want to call in, the number is 585-420-8358. You already know it's 420. One voicemail from an unknown caller. Wow. You had to block your number. You couldn't say it with your whole chest. Let's listen in here.
Yeah, I just want to say that ever since I've been following your picks and your plays, I have lost so much money. I can't feed my children now. I just think your plays absolutely suck. And I think your haircut looks like shit. You need to find a new barber. Yeah, I just don't think you should just start covering like maybe the cheerleaders or something. And you probably smell like shit, IRL. And I bet you take baths with your mom.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's a hotline for that. Okay. There's a hotline for that. Okay. And it's not my hotline, Bling. You know what hotline I'm talking about. Okay. It sounds like you have an addiction and you should take care of that. Okay. And it's not my fault. You have probably a million runny nose kids running around. Okay. It's not my fault. So maybe you should, stick to making more fucking money for your family. And I'm just saying, like, if this is how you call in, I imagine how your wife feels. Like, your poor wife has to deal with this tomfoolery. Okay. I can't. All right. So if I hope you send this to your wife and, she puts a stop on, and you shouldn't be listening to me at all. I tell everybody, like, don't listen to me. Fuck, I shouldn't even listen to me. Actually, everything that I say, you should pick against. Okay, let's play a game. Like, every pick I say, just run a parlay of everything that I pick against. Okay, all right, just do that. All right, and yeah, you also you sound like you take baths with your dad, so that's worse. I'd rather take a bath with my mom than my dad, to be honest. So I take that as a compliment. I love my mom. And it sounds like you have some mom issues. And it sounds like, I don't know, maybe some daddy issues there too. So you take baths with your dad and yeah, go fuck yourself. All right. Next segment. Week 8. I'm scared, guys. Just kidding. I'm confident. I prayed to God for wisdom. So just so you know, I am prayed up. All right. I am prayed up before this. I was like, Lord, Please, God, give me some wisdom, okay? Because I need some cred out here in these podcasting, YouTube, and TikTok streets, okay? I'm looking like a sucker, okay? I'm looking like a damn fool out here. And I feel like we all are, okay? Because it's not just me. It's across the board, okay? It's like I'm not throwing out picks out there and then or predictions and getting them up. Like I want to know, like, please show yourself now, speak now or forever hold your peace. Whoever's went 16-16, let me fucking know right now, okay? All right? Show yourself. All right. And all the men talking shit in my comments about my pick videos, let's see your fucking picks. Where's your fucking podcast? All right? We only have like 9 listeners, but you know what? I'm proud of those 9 listeners, damn it. I bet you don't even have 9 contacts in your phone. Actually, I have like 9 contacts in my phone. I shouldn't talk, but you know, seriously. Anyways, moving on. Okay. So I'm going to be stern and I'm not going to be wishy-washy about this. And I'm going to say it with my whole chest and my 34 Bs. Yes. Okay. The 6 teams that have bye weeks this week are the Cardinals, the Lions, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the Rams, and the Seahawks. So happy resting to those teams. Kicking off Thursday Night Football, we have the Chargers versus the Vikings. Now, both teams are coming into week 8 from losses against the Eagles and the Colts. Both of those games I predicted right, by the way. But this one is going to be a comeback revenge tour for both games. But Carson Wentz and Justin Herbert's performances last week were not great, especially Carson Wentz's. Starting QB JJ McCarthy is at the 4 to 6 week recovery time period of his injury. However, they don't want to bring him back too early, and I think it's safe to say he will not be turning against the Chargers. On the Pat McAfee show, head coach Adam Schefter said that if Carson comes back on Thursday and completely wrecks it against the Chargers, it's safe to say that JJ will be returning back to play against Detroit. But if all goes well and Carson Wentz, beats the Chargers, that JJ will get another week's of rest. But so Carson Wentz is expected to be the starting quarterback of the Vikings going into week 8. And he is so unpredictable, guys. However, the Chargers are playing at home and the Chargers do have a 3-point favorite. If the Chargers want to win this one, Herbert has enough targets to hit and win this game. They really do. They need to capitalize on the running game because Herbert can make those quick, efficient, long, quick passes. And the receivers and everybody, they just need to get open. Okay, just fucking get open. Also, the Chargers defense needs to have lethal blitzes against Carson Wentz because that is what he really struggled in week 7 is the pressure. He cracked like Buffalo concrete in the wintertime. Okay, it was insane. So bad. I want to see bloodshed, but safely, of course. So needless to say, I'm going with the favorite here and I'm picking the Chargers to win in week 8. Next, Sunday games, we have the Dolphins versus the Falcons. I picked the Dolphins last week because I knew that the Browns were bad, but I didn't expect it to be that bad. I thought that they would at least put up some type of a fighting chance, but with Tua as their leader, I don't see that ever happening. They need, like I said, they need to completely 86 their entire, their head coach and Tua. They can keep some of the receivers and everything, some of their defense, but they need to cut and gut most of that team. Falcons ate Buffalo's brunch in week 6 and got beat by the 49ers last week. So, but I think this is an easy win for everybody. Falcons for sure. Okay. No brainer. Falcons. Bears versus the Ravens. The big question mark for this game is whether Lamar Jackson is returning for week 8. He did not participate in Monday's practice, and we'll have to see if he participates in Wednesday's / tomorrow's practice. And that will be a big tell if he does come back in week 8. So I hate to do this, but this is easy for me. If Lamar Jackson comes back in week 8, I'm going with the Ravens. If Lamar Jackson is not returning in week 8, I'm going with the Bears. Next, Jets versus the Bengals. If I were a Jets fan, I would just tune this game out. Just please sit this one out. If you're a season ticket holder, I would just do something else with your family. I mean, I don't think there's any Jets fan out there that like chose the Jets. I feel like they were just born into it. And I just feel so bad for that franchise and that fan base. I mean, not so much because they're in our division, but still, like, what is happening? Safe to say the Jets will be 0-8 in week 8, and the Bengals will have another W on the record going into week 9. So, Bengals for sure. Next are the Bills versus the Panthers. The Bills. They're coming off a bye week. They lost 2 straight games in a row. I feel like they really had heart-to-hearts. They did kumbaya. I don't know. I don't care. They had to practice Santeria. They had to do voodoo. I don't care. They had to sacrifice a chicken. I really don't give a shit what they had to do, but at some point, like, you gotta win, bro. You have to do this. Like, we are looking so bad out there, okay? And against the Panthers, I feel like this will be a really good practice game for them. So obviously we're going with the Bills in week 8. Next, 49ers versus the Texans. Another, oh God, watching the Texans struggle so hard offensively just because their defense just kept making turnover after turnover, and CJ Stroud just cannot complete. He just did not understand the assignment whatsoever. The 49ers, they're just going to run all over them. 49ers, if they want to win, obviously this is an easy strategy. 49ers need to use Christian McCaffrey as much as possible, and they know this. He is literally their secret weapon. He is definitely good for an anytime touchdown for sure. 49ers offense needs to protect Brock Purdy as much as possible because that was number one thing that was creating turnovers in week 7 was sacks and fumble recoveries from the Houston's defense. So even though Texans will be hosting the 49ers, I just don't see them beating them in week 8. So 49ers for sure. Browns versus Patriots. Patriots, I hate to do this, but being realistic, they're playing at Gillette Stadium. I mean, good luck. Even though the Browns won last week, still picking the Patriots. As much as I hate it, okay? Patriots in week 8. All right, Giants versus the Eagles. We have such an early rematch, okay? They just played each other, but another rivals game, another rematch, okay? Even though the Giants almost beat the Broncos last week and all that hoopla, don't get me wrong, I know that the Giants will put up a good fight, but they're playing in Lincoln, guys. No, I really wouldn't recommend Giants fans going to that game. I just wouldn't recommend it. They are insane. Okay, but Eagles in week 8. All right. Tampa Bay versus the Saints. Now, the Bucs are favored in this game, rightfully so. The Bucs are coming off of a loss against the Lions on Monday night. That was an extreme feat for them to overcome, however. Also, I think Mike Evans obviously getting injured really put a damper on everything, and especially threw Baker off because they're like best friends. It's so sad. I'm going with the Bucs redemption on this one and beating the Saints at home. Titans versus the Colts. Oh my God, the Colts. I don't need to say anything else. Colts for sure. Another favorite, but I don't care. The Titans have no chance. Colts, Indiana Jones, going for the Colts for sure. Cowboys versus the Broncos. Both teams are obviously coming into week 8 from wins. So, but after watching that insane comeback, I think the Cowboys will be even keel, but I don't see the Broncos getting beat by the Cowboys. So definitely locking it in for the Broncos for a win at home in week 8. So they had 2 home games in a row. Interesting. Packers versus the Steelers. This is going to be another fun game to watch. But like I said, Percocet Rogers is so back. Give me the Steelers against the Packers for sure. I don't care about stats. I don't care about him losing against Joe Flacco. It was a hell of a game and a close game too at that. Jordan Love doesn't have a Jamar Chase. He just doesn't. Okay. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. You know what it is. Okay, Monday Night Showdown. We have the Commanders versus the Chiefs. This one might, I feel my guttural instinct is to go with the Chiefs because they're playing at Arrowhead. But this one might be like a surprise for some. But I'm going with the Chiefs on this one. But I hate to be wishy-washy, but I really want to be like stern. But just for the lore, I may just run both. Just to fuck it up. Just to throw a wrench in the plans, you know? I just love doing that. I love being naughty like that. So, but I do think the Chiefs will beat the Commanders. It's Monday night primetime. I mean, you know how that goes. You know how it goes with the primetime games. But who knows? Crazier things have happened. So there's that. I'm going to be wrapping up this episode. I've honestly been out of commission. I haven't been posting too much content lately, like on social media and everything. My iPhone. So every time Apple releases a new phone, I have to get a new iPhone because they like to do this new funny thing. You know, it's actually not new or funny at all, but they do this thing where my phone completely poo-poos the bed. And I don't know. Last time it was my battery. So I got my battery fixed. I got a new battery put in, which was like almost $200. And then shortly after that, it was like turning off all the time randomly. And then again, the same thing happened. So I got the new phone that I had, I think it was like a 15 Pro Max when that came out. I got that one. I've had it for a while, but honestly, smartphones should be lasting way longer than, like 3 years. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. My battery went again. So then I went and got my battery repaired instead of just buying a whole new phone. But then, it was fine for a month or two or whatever. And all of a sudden, my phone would be at 90%, and then it would just start turning off. And at first, I thought it was the storage because I was at like full capacity from all the videos and stuff. So I cleared out so much content, so much stuff that I didn't need or whatever. Clear out some apps, some kid apps or whatever. And it shouldn't have been that. It shouldn't have been the storage. But it kept doing it every single time. It would be at 90%, even at 100%, it would just start turning off. I got the Samsung Galaxy S25 because I'm so sick of Apple's bullshit. So I'm back on Android. I haven't been an Android user in years, but I'm like relearning the phone. It's just so weird. But Apple will not be receiving a single dollar from me. But I don't have to deal with that anymore. I got a new phone. Hallelujah. My husband is a gem. He paid off my phone and I was able to get this one. And because that's literally my job. So I haven't been able to be posting content because every time I would film a video, it would die and then it would lose. It wouldn't even be, because sometimes like if you like exit out of TikTok or whatever, it will still save it as a draft. It wasn't even saving my draft. So I was just like, I'm fucking over this. So but this week is going to be full of, I'm going to be doing some sewing content. I have a lot of sewing content to catch up on. Like so many jersey corsets. I do have some Bills ones coming in, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, hope you guys have a great rest of your night, morning, wherever the fuck you're listening to this. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much for listening. You're the best. Be easy and or sleazy. Good night or good morning or good afternoon. All right, guys.